What's up, YouTube? My name is Julie, and I am about to head in to have surgery at L4, L5. I have some lumbar disc issues, and I'm going to be having an ALIF, anterior lumbar interbody fusion, with posterior fixation and a osteectomy of my stress fractures in my pars, which sounds painful, but really hasn't been. So I am 51, and I have had back pain my whole life. Not crippling back pain by any means, just sore back. The kind of sore back that when you do something you know you shouldn't, you know you're going to ache the next day. Maybe put some ice on it, rub some dirt on it, take some Advil or whatever. And that's kind of how things progressed. I just kind of assumed that I was going to have like lower back arthritis, and I didn't really anticipate that there would be anything else wrong. In 2012, I actually had a cervical fusion at C5-6, and that went pretty well. And then I unfortunately had to go back in, and they had to go back in 2 years later, and 2014 to it's 2023 right now. So 9 years ago, they had to go back in and actually do the next segment up. I got adjacent disc disease, or adjacent segment disease, something like that. It basically required them to remove the first plate at 5-6 and put on a double plate that would span from 4 to 6. So I've been through fusion surgery. I've been through it. It's not a lot of fun. The recovery is kind of a pain in the butt, primarily just because of everything that you can't do now that you feel like you can do anything, but you just, there's just so many restrictions. There's going to be even more restrictions when it comes to the back. And I am anticipating being out of work for at least 6 weeks, and probably won't be back to full power for at least 6 months, kind of a thing. So specifically, what do I have wrong? So I have degenerative disc disease. I have virtually no disc. I'm going to show you guys my MRIs and everything in a bit. I have no disc, or very little disc, at L4-5. I have some spondylithesis, some grade 1 spondylithesis. It's not that big of a deal. It was about 6 millimeters. However, coupled with the pars defect, or the pars fractures, the chronic pars stress fractures that apparently I have on both sides of that L4 vertebral bone, because of that translational instability, they just want to make sure that that they take care of everything. So I just kind of spoke out of turn there. So degenerative disc disease. Spondylithesis grade 1, pars defects bilaterally. I also have bilateral severe foraminal stenosis at L4. That is my biggest concern. And that's really the reason why we're going in and doing the surgery. Just to run down my personal history real quick. When I was in high school, big sports player, played a lot of sports. Once I became an adult, honestly, I still did some sports, so I started having more injury problems, so I've had to back off of all of that. I've worked in a very physical job at times, and always seem to hurt myself or do something. And so this is still a surprise to me, because I did not have like crippling back pain or anything like that. The way my symptoms started out was literally about 6 months ago. I started noticing some pain when I would like stand up from a sitting position, and it would be right in the front of my hip, and it was on the right side, a little bit on the left, but mostly on the right. And I thought it was due to weakness. For a period before this, I started a new job about 8 months ago, and it's a very physical job, and I was weak. I was definitely weak when I started. And then I just got in better shape. But I wasn't sure where the hip pain was coming from. I thought, well, maybe I've, strained something. Maybe I'm working too hard. Maybe I need to stretch more. There's an imbalance someplace. I need to stretch it out. So I tried stretching, and at times it seemed like I got a little better. If I rested, it definitely got better. But once I got going, it didn't bug me at all. Like once I actually got going for like a good 6 weeks there, over the summer, the pain would go away as soon as I like got up and started moving around. It's just that it happened every time I started getting up. So I started thinking, oh, I probably got some hip arthritis that's flaring up right now. No big deal. I actually made 2 appointments with my primary care physician this past summer, 2 different times, an appointment 2 different times to look at my hip. Because I was like, maybe I need to go see a hip doctor or something because it just keeps flaring. It keeps flaring. But what happened after that, like what happened to that after that 6 to 8 week period when I started getting concerned enough to talk to the doctor about it, I never actually went to go see the doctor because the next phase started affecting my foot, specifically my heel. I just would have the most just pain, especially the first thing when I wake up in the morning. I could feel like I could stretch out of it a little bit, but it was just uncomfortable. And I'm like, man, this must be plantar fasciitis. I need to change my shoes. I'm working on a concrete floor. I was wearing hiking boots. It's not very smart. And so I switched over to a proper pair of shoes, with, better traction and lighter. And I started icing and I started stretching and I started just doing all these things. And the pain maybe got a little bit better, and then it was bad again. It goes back and forth, back and forth. And then I started noticing that the pain on my foot was actually starting to incorporate more of the top of my foot, like just right around the metatarsal area, and then the front, and then it seemed to go to the front of the ankle. And I'm like, that's just weird. And at the same time that happened, the hip pain kind of went away. And so I'm like, well, that's just weird. I'm like, you know what I bet it is? I bet you that I got plantar fasciitis and I was favoring my foot in a way, and I probably just have tendonitis now. My front of my ankle, top of my foot, it's probably just anterior tibialis, front of your shin, itis. And you know what? I'm just gonna stretch it. I'm gonna massage it. I'm gonna ice it. We're gonna jump on that. And that was when I went to my chiropractor, and that was probably a solid 3-4 months into going to see the chiropractor. And I wasn't really going in about the foot. I was going in for like just general kind of get everything sort of pop back into place. We just kind of did a normal routine. I didn't really mention the foot a whole lot the first couple of visits. I just thought it was plantar fasciitis, and I'm like, it's going to get better. I've been through this before. It's going to get better. And another couple of weeks go by and I haven't seen him. And finally I'm like, I'm going to go see him that day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell him about my foot. And I'm going to show him my foot and kind of how I walk, because I don't know. I don't know why I hadn't said anything before. I just hadn't really mentioned it. And like I said, my problems had been more like back and neck and just kind of just getting a general checkup. And the chiropractor is actually a friend of mine. I've known him for 7, 8 years. And he's a great guy, and I really like him, and I trust his judgment. I feel like he has like really helped me out, keeping my mobility up in my neck, despite despite me having the surgery, the fusion. So, I felt great since he started working on me. But I wasn't getting better with the foot. So when I went in to go see him, I purposely this time, because usually I'm like, I go ahead and I like sit on the table and I'm all ready to go when he walks in. This time I sat to the side and I said, I want to show you something. I'm like, I've been really struggling with this foot and it continually is getting worse. So I stood up and I tried to walk, which I'm trying to walk and I can't walk. And I hadn't really noticed this about my foot, but I was walking, like if these are my feet, I was walking with this one kind of out, like walking. That was weird. Looked like I was playing the piano there. And so he looked at me and he was like, what did you do? Like, what do you mean, what did I do? I'm like, this is how I've been. It just has finally gotten bad enough that I'm like, I'm gonna tell you about this because it's not getting better. And he's like, well, you have a back problem. He said, you either have a bulging disc, a herniated disc, you got something pressing on some spinal nerves back there. So I was like, oh crap. And he sent me to get an MRI, which I got the MRI. results behind me, and after the MRI, I'm like, all right, I gotta go see a neurosurgeon. So I went to the guy that he recommended, which ironically was one of the guys that worked on me back when I had my neck done. How crazy is that? Completely different practice now. So I've had a couple of visits. We are planning the surgery, and I gotta say, I still was like, when we did the MRI, and then I went to see the neurosurgeon for the first time. I actually saw the PA, standard procedure nowadays. Went and see the PA who looked at the MRI and examined me, and I definitely have some motor deficits and sensory deficits in my right foot and ankle, and basically. He then ordered a CT and some x-rays, and so I went and had those done. The x-rays were almost stupid in how bad they were, and I mean, I have some medical background. I have been around a lot of radiographs and things like that, and it was yeah, they were bad. Like, they were just bad technique. Like, you could barely see the vertebrae. You could see how much slippage there was. In the end, the PA was like, yeah, we don't think we really need to get additional imagery of you at this point. Like, the x-rays aren't going to tell us any more than we already know. We still got to fix your spine in two ways. And so it didn't matter a whole lot. But when I got the CT report back and I got to see some of the images, I just shocked at like just how ugly everything looks. And the fact that I don't have like that bad of back pain. It's just what's happening with my foot and my leg and everything else is far more disturbing to me than any back issue has been. So but yeah, so I'm gonna turn the camera around and we're gonna take a look at some of my imaging, and yeah, let's do that. All right, guys, so we're gonna look first at my MRI. I'm not a trained radiologist, so I can't necessarily, I won't say all the right things, but hopefully if there's some radiologists out there, they can take a look at this maybe as well, give their third, fourth, fifth opinion about it. But so this is my L4 and this is my L5. You can see how collapsed down the disc is at this point, and the fact that this is sort of shifted back a little bit. This is shifted forward. I think this is shifted forward more than anything. L4 is. I made some notations on the thing. I was actually showing my mom this, and I wanted to make sure that everything was seen. So as you have your the bone disc, the bone itself also goes all the way in the back, and your backbone, literally the things that you feel on your back, those little ridges, are these little spinous processes back here. And so part of, I mean, it's not, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies and ridges and things, all kinds of things on the back of your back, but the thing to look out for with this is the pars, which is part of the it's hard for me to point it out, since this is L4. This is sort of the pars area, but what you're seeing, or is it the L5 that have pars? You think I would know this, but this is the area right here that's causing problems. Some extra bone, some things not doing their thing correctly. And what's happening is that instead of there being like this nice big healthy space, there's like this nubbin that's in the way, and there's these nubbins that are in the way back here. And so what is a nice, like, look like a little, like a plant or something with little fronds on it, comes out and then quickly gets like two-dimensional there, and it's just like, boop, can't see a thing, cannot see a thing. These don't look perfect because we're not focused on that particular segment. We are far more focused right here. But there's my MRI, and from there, let's see, we had a CT. And what I like about my CT is it's just ridiculous, like the lipping, the sclerosis, the spondylosis that's going on here. Now this looks like it's bone on bone. It's not bone on bone, okay? It's the appearance of, here, let's pull this back over. It's that lipping effect and the spondylithesis that's going to make it look like there's no disc space here, but there's some disc space there. There has to be. Although I will tell you that at times I actually have felt something shift in my back, and it felt like just clunk clunk, like it doesn't feel like anything else in my entire body, but that I could feel. So we got this sclerosis over here, we got some over here. I'm guessing, I don't 100% know for sure, but I'm sure that we're going to go through and kind of remove anything that's sort of overhanging here, just for a, let's get rid of it so it doesn't irritate tissues more than it already is. And then I'm going to show you my pars part. Let's see, let's look at this one first. So this is my pars, picture of my pars. The arrows are kind of showing the areas that are completely abnormal. It's going to look different as we go down through here, just because, again, just where you're focusing on. This makes it look like it's my L5. I don't know the anatomy of the minutia of the back, especially the dorsal column there. I don't know it very well. And obviously that's not correct, that there's, ooh, look, there's something there, there's a piece of bone there, there's not there. It's just based on like at what phase that we rolled in and out that I took the picture when I was at the neurosurgeon's office. So, but these stress fractures in my back basically kind of led to all the instability. It never healed, nothing ever healed, and it led to where we are now. Let me see if I have anything else image-wise. I've got this, and this is just another picture of, let's zoom that in a little bit. It's just another picture of my back, and sort of at the level here, you can just see just all the irregular. It's just not pretty. The human body is usually quite pretty. This is not pretty. This is not how it should be. So literally when they go in to do the surgery, they're going to remove this chunk of bone that is not helping anything, and I'll be able to still heal and do well, and fuse. But yeah, that's the part that has to go away. Has to go away. It's just so I can like fuse my joint there. So okay, so that's what the inside of my back looks like. It was just shock to me too. So but where we stand right now is that it's the night before Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Eve, and I am going through like the insurance approval process right now to make sure that everything's good to go and we'll be able to proceed with surgery. I have two options. They're not really options. They're more like best choice of surgery, and then the one we're just dealt with. And so we just can't change. Where the surgeon is booked out right now, the surgeons are booked out right now, is February 6th. The reason why it's going to take so long, for one, it's the holiday season, and you're losing like most like top end elective surgeries, things like that, like especially dealing with the back. They're not doing surgeries. They may not even been doing them today. They probably were. But Thanksgiving Day, they're only going to do emergencies. Friday, they're likely only doing emergencies, and that goes through the weekend. So, you already have like most of a week or half of a week that it gets pushed back. And then you got Christmas and New Year's and everything's happening. There are two surgeons that are needing to be involved in this surgery, and the one guy that's coming in to help with sort of the vascular part, he works with a lot of different neurosurgeons for this surgery only, and so his schedule for my particular neurosurgeon does not open up until February 6th. Now, if the best thing for me that happens, there is a meeting that's happening next week to decide whether or not this other person's surgery needs to go forward or not, or will go forward or not. That person's surgery is on December 19th. And if they decide that particular individual is not going to have that procedure on December 19th, the slot's mine. So I really want it, because I mean, the foot problem it gets bad, and it's just no fun. And I'm starting to have other symptoms too, which I'll go in a little bit later. Like, the problem is definitely bilateral, but the right side is just more affected. It's the first side that's truly been affected, but the left side's starting to give me problems. Especially it's starting in the hip, just like it did on the right side, and it's moving down into like the knee, and there's just anyway, there's all different kinds of things going on. So I hope that next week I'll find out that I get some good news. If not, then I'm going to have to really look into what I can do to help myself over the next couple of months to keep myself as comfortable as possible. But that's why I want to do this video. That's why I started the channel. I already do videos on, I've had a handful of other sites, nothing crazy popular. My most popular thing is cross stitch, and I love that. But so I do like watching people's YouTube videos of their actual real life experience. It's something that you know, I've already found very comforting in a lot of ways. The dozen or so people that I've seen that have done videos, but I want to kind of take it from a little bit different perspective. Most people don't talk, the vast majority of people don't talk in depth about their symptoms or what they're doing to prepare themselves for surgery, more frequent updates after surgery, and like, where are you here? Where are you? You know, like, okay, so you're so many days out, you're a couple weeks out, you're 4 weeks out, you know, you're 1 month out, you're 2 months out, you know, that kind of thing. And so considering that my procedure is a little bit more involved, I figured it would be it's a fun exercise to document it and to kind of see how it goes. And also because I've already been a fixation patient, I've already had my neck fused, and I have no regrets about fusing my neck. It needed to happen. I was having a lot of radiculopathy into my hands and a lot of pain, and I could not have, either time I had those surgeries, I could not wait to get those things done. So and I'm not, you know, I want to get this surgery done. I want to get it done. I want to move on. I want to work through the recovery, and I want 2024 to be as painless as possible. So that's what we're looking at. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.